What is going on, everybody? It's your man Chris,
What up? What up? What up? This is John.
and today we're going to be talking about Jesus, the Bible, and everything having to do with the Son. My man John
Praise
is.
the Lord.
I know it's not Sunday, but every day is a good day. We
Every
talk
day is the
about the
Lord's
God.
day.
So when it comes towards that, but in particular, my man John had a few words he wanted to start us off with. Or you know what? Even better, I'm just gonna let him lead, and then I'm gonna tag on where he's gonna go with the flow.
Oh yeah, y'all. I got inspired, y'all. I got motivated Friday to come talk about what we're talking about. I got my camera off because I'm going through a little bit of changes and transitions. The season is changing. We got what 2, 3 more days till we go into Scorpio. So that speaks to a lot. To me, Scorpio is one of the most dynamic, ultimate energies and things like that out there. To me, it's objective to me, right? That the four that there's like the four ultimate signs. But I just gonna roll with two, right? Well, I could I could roll with all four. Sagittarius, Scorpio, Virgo, and Aquarius. Because all these signs are the amalgamation of all the other signs. Um, but all that to say, a few days, Sun is going into Scorpio, and what else is going on? We're gonna let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, about what 10 days. We're gonna have a new moon.
Just
So
about.
7, 8, 9, 10. Ooh, I'm getting good at this. Um, so we're going through different seasons and changes and stuff like that, man. You got 2 more days. Sun, Scorpio. It'll be a good time to start waking up a little earlier. Time gonna go back. Daylight savings at the end of the week is either this week or next week. So you might want to practice getting up early and changing and attuning to things. You want to start recalibrating, and that's part of what I want to talk about. I got inspired. I was looking up prophecy and stuff like that. I'm real big into um, God, in whichever way the divine shows up. I don't think God told us particularly what to like. You can find God in everything and everywhere, honestly. But we most prominently found it. Well, it found us. We black. We had to go through colonialism and stuff like that. But all they did is take what we had, remixed it, and made a real bad remix to it. So I always suggest people go get the Tanakh and go get a strong concordance because it's like people just take your swag. They put it on, but they can't put it on like you. So they change things around, but it's a poor rendition of what's really being said. One of the things that I pulled was from the New Testament, which they wrote in Arabic, which is the cousin to Hebrew, which is cousin to Arabic. And I found this prophecy. Um, it's real long. I'm gonna read it out, and then I'm gonna after that I'm gonna go to the part where it really gave me some emphasis. Right. So it's Matthew 24. And having gone forth, Jesus departed from the temple, and his disciples came near to show him the building of the temple. And Jesus said to them, "Do you not see all of these? Truly I say to you, there may not be left here a stone on a stone that will not be thrown down." And when he is sitting on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came near to him by himself, saying, "Tell us when will these be? And what is the sign of your coming at the full of the age?" So they even talk about time right now, like right off the bat. You're talking about changes, you're talking about cycles, um you're talking about basically omens, which is a scary word, but you're talking about signs, and you're talking about ages, you're talking about epochs, you know. For many will come in my name saying, "I am the Christ." Let's right roll that back. I am the Christ. That's a title. We're going to revisit that at some point too. And they will lead many astray, and you will begin to hear of wars and reports of wars. Do not be troubled, for it is necessary for all these to come to pass, and the end is not yet. The nation will rise, for nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there will be famines. I'm sorry, I can't read this morning. Famines and pestilence and earthquakes in various places. Keyword: various places, and all these are the beginning of travails. They will deliver up to tribulation, and will kill you, and you will be hated by all the nations by because of my name. And then will many be stumbled, and they will deliver up one another, and will hate one another. And many false prophets will arise, and will lead many astray. And because of the abounding in lawlessness, the love of many will become cold. But he who endured to the end will be saved. And this good news of the kingdom will be proclaimed in all the world for a testimony to all the nations. And then will the end arrive. Whenever therefore you may see the abomination of the desolation that was spoken through Daniel the prophet standing in the holy place, whoever reading, let him observe. Then those in Judea would let them flee to the mountains. He on the housetop, do not let him come down to take anything out of his house. And he in the field, do not let him turn back to take his garments. I mean, nigga, run! And woe to those with child and those who give suck in those days, and pray that your flight may not be in the winter, nor on the Sabbath, for there will be then a great tribulation, such as that not from the such as was not from the beginning of the world until now, no, nor may be. And if those days were not shortened, no flesh would have been saved. But because of the chosen will those days will be shortened. Then if anyone may say to you, behold, here is the Christ, or here, you may not believe, for there will arise false Christs, plural, and false prophets, and they will give great signs and wonders so as to lead astray, if possible, also the chosen. Behold, I told you beforehand. If therefore they may say to you, behold, he is in the wilderness, you may not go forth. Behold, in the inner chambers, you may not believe. For as the lightning comes from the east and appears in the west, we're looking at the sky now, okay? So will also the coming of the Son of Man. For wherever the carcass may be, there the eagles will gather together. And immediately after the tribulation of these days, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give her light, and the stars will fall from the sky. Oh, here we go. And the powers of the heavens will be shaken. And then will appear the signs of the Son of Man in the sky. Oh, in the sky? For real? And then will all the tribes of the earth strike the beast, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven. Oh, we talking about the sky again. And with power and much glory. And he will send his messengers with a great sound of a trumpet, and they will gather together his chosen from the four winds, and from the ends of the heavens to the ends thereof. And from the fig tree learn the allegory. When its branch may have already become tender, and it may put forth the leaves, you know it as you know that summer is near. And so also you may see all these. When you may see all these, when you may see all these, you may know it is near at the doors. Truly I say to you, this generation may not pass away until all these may come to pass. The heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will not pass away. And concerning that day and hour, no one has known, not even the messengers of the heavens, except my Father only. And as these days of Noah, so also be coming the Son of Man. For as they were in the days before the flood, eating and drinking, and marrying and giving in marriage until the day Noah entered to the ark. And they did not know until the flood came and took all away. So all will will also be the coming of the Son of Man. Then two men will be in the field, one is received, one is left. Two women will be grinding in the mill, and one is received, and one is left. Watch therefore, because you have not known in what hour your Lord comes. And know this, that if the master of the house had in what watch the thief comes, he had watched, and he did not permit his house to be broken through. Because of this also, become ready, because in what hour you do not think the Son of Man comes. Who then is a servant, faithful and wise, whom his Lord set over his household, to give him nourishment in this season? Oh, my bad. Who then is a servant, faithful and wise, whom the Lord set over the household to give him nourishment in the season? Bless my servant, whom is the Lord hath come, will find doing so. Truly I say to you that he will set him over all substance. And if that evil servant may say in his heart, my Lord delays to come, and begin to beat the fellow servants, ooh, abusive, and to eat and to drink with the drunken, and the Lord of that servant will arrive in a day when he does not expect, in the hour which he does not know, and will cut him off, and will appoint his portion with the hypocrites. There will be the weeping and the gnashing of teeth. That's the end of it. Thank y'all for giving me 10 minutes of this prophecy. Well, I think a significant prophecy. The first few books of the Bible is Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. So this pops off right in 24. What really, really, really caught me to this, because we had to talk last week, and we talked about a lot. So when I found this, and they said, and concerning that day and the hour, no one has known, not even the messengers of the sky of the heavens. I was like, it made me think, and it made me put myself in the position of a person who might be a skeptic of what we're studying, what we're doing, and what we're learning. And this also shows that there's, to me, as far as I see, there's no contradiction between astrology and the Bible. Now, how it's utilized, that's a case by case basis. But for what it is, apparently astrology and the sky and the stars and the heavens is embedded in the Bible. It's embedded in literally one of the prophecies of Jesus. So people say, "Oh, astrology is evil. Whoa, we're gonna go to hell." Not really. You know, because what it says right here. Where is that? So you also, verse 30. No, that ain't it. Where it go? So you'll see. Where? I need to get a holler out of y'all. Actually, 33. So also you, when you may see all these, you will know it is near at the door. So we're talking about houses. We're talking about, figure of speech houses. We're talking about what you may see. We're talking about watching signs. We're looking at signs of nature and things like that. We really try to dispute this thing as if it's not, any divinity in what we're looking at, what we're studying. But after seeing this and reading this, I'm like, I think what people make a mistake is that they think that we're looking at something that is literal, something that is just plain straightforward in your face, and apparently it's not. We were doing when we were looking and reading and things and stuff like that. We're delineating. We're using inductive and deductive reasoning. And really, what we're primarily doing is deductive reasoning, and that's not a perfect thing. Our I don't know anybody who have perfect reasoning all the time. It's just gonna slam dunk. I leave that to the Lord, you know. But what we're doing is we're literally looking at signs. We're looking at things that represents what's going on up in the canopy of the sky, the heavens. And I also have a book that I want to crack open one day. What is it? Where is it at? It's on my bookshelf. Kabbalistic astrology. Where it's the whole book's about nothing but finding talks about skies, stars, signs in the Bible. There's allegories and symbolism and stuff in the Bible and things like that. I think people have yet to brush up and find. But when we're talking about what Jesus said and talking about these signs we will see, and talking about time, things like that. That's probably one of the biggest preoccupations of man: eating, gratification, and time, things like that. So I wanted to riff on that because when I saw that, it made me think about people who tried to, what's the word I want to use? Myth bust astrology and stuff like that. But we're looking at something that's kind of perfectly imperfect. We're looking at something that moves and changes, something that's subjective. Something that's subjective, but just because something's subjective doesn't mean it is it's not real. That it's not how can I say? It's not what I want to say. It's not actual. I guess I could say that. We're looking at something subjective, like art subjective, but it's still art. So we were looking at, astrology is an art, but it is definitely science. But no, we're actually, to me, what we do, you and I, Chris, and other people, we're actually doing art. We're doing the art. We're looking at nature. Nature's art. Nature is what inspires art. So that I don't know what to say too much after that. Tell me what you think. Give me some feedback, Chris.
I have gone through Matthew chapter 24, and I've heard many iterations of it over the years from people who are not astrologers, who people who are just mainly into the Bible. And coming at it now from an astrological standpoint, I have now, I say, a different perspective on it, but just breaking down some of the different things that you were talking about earlier when you were talking about during Matthew chapter 24 or Matthew 24, how it was going through all of these prophetic things of what was going to happen when the coming of man or the coming of the Son of God was going to be. It was talking about how the sun won't shine, the moon won't give its luster, how the stars will be falling out of the sky. Very prophetic things that for most people, that's like that particular verse is like something that would come out of the book of Revelations. All of
Right.
these type of suggestive things, very visual, suggestive things of what will the sky will be like, what will the day be like when he comes back. All of these wars are gonna happen between the kings and the nations between one another. Well, if more people can understand, there was one part in there too that he said that I haven't thought about in a little while, where he said, "Come, because nigh this is not the end." And that made me come to understand, or that made me come to realize too, you don't want to take everything from the Bible literally. There is a lot of metaphor, there is a lot of um subjective lookings of how things are going to be. When Jesus talks about when the stars are going to fall out of the sky, he's not literally going to be like a star is going to crash down to earth. I think most people will come to the understanding that that's not necessarily what he means. But in terms of astrology, the different positions of the planets in the sky relative to the stars tells us certain things about what things are going to happen. And Matthew 24 isn't the only time in the Bible that we hear about astrology. As early as the book of Genesis, we hear about astrology too. In the very first chapter of the book of Genesis, when God is creating um, the heavens and the earth in the creation story, he says in, I think it's Genesis 1:14 through 16, and he says, "Let the lights in the firmament of the sky be for signs, be for dates, and be for seasons or for years." So God is literally saying, use the lights in the sky, use the stars, the same stars that Jesus is talking about. Use them
Hold on,
to,
hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Did he say that off the jump, off the break?
yeah, it was Genesis
What?
1, 14 through
What?
16.
What? What? No, I'm
He's
fucking around.
You said you were gonna look for it?
No, no, no. I said I'm fucking around. No, I knew that. I knew that already. I
Okay.
knew in the first chapter of the book, there's a reference to astronomical phenomena, and to use it to delineate and discern seasons and epochs and the year within itself, the hour, just the concept of the hour, you know, to
and
use
the,
as a measure.
and with that, it's like coming back now to Matthew, hearing now Jesus talking about how the sky is gonna be and how the things are gonna see. Anytime there's sort of a natural disaster or an apocalypse of sorts happening, you could think of disasters like Chernobyl. You can think of the Pompeii incident back in the day with all those in Italy with the volcanoes. Every time that there's like a big event that affects human history, even in the Bible in Matthew 24, he talks about the flood. It's gonna be like when the flood comes, people are not gonna be aware. When it came to Chernobyl or Pompeii, to be more specific, those people weren't aware of what was gonna happen about the big natural disasters. Even when it comes towards things like hurricanes, tsunamis, typhoons, earthquakes, these things can come out of nowhere. They can be sudden. They could be unexpected. All traits of the planet Uranus. They could be things that you're not gonna expect to come through. You're not gonna come to understand. You're not gonna come to see or know. So it's good to
Hey
have.
Chris, are you talking
Yeah.
about global warming?
And for those who don't believe that global warming exists, I hope this is another extent that the planet that you live on changes around you. Things don't stay
Really?
the same way forever. There's changes that go on every single day, even though they're minor changes, little changes bit by bit, every single day compound. And those tiny little
That ain't
changes,
real, bro. Global warming ain't real, bro.
those tiny changes in the environment and in your own personal life, little bits of work that you do every single day compounds. It could be hard to try to move a mountain
Yeah,
in
but
one day, but you give it a course of a couple months to a year, to a couple years, oh, you can make a dent in that thing. You can make a dent in the world
mm-hmm.
around you.
Yeah. So that speaks to work and effort, and God is pleased by two things, as far as I heard from Jordan Peterson. Um, at least he's reliable to me. That God is pleased by two things: hard work and sacrifice. They
Mm,
both take time. It takes giving. It's action. It's your discipline and things like that is a form of devotion. That's what the Lord likes the most. How much you want it. How much you want it for yourself. How much you want it, to please the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Some people would say your inner self, because God lives within all of us. We are the Son of Man. One of the things is, to me, is that you know when we talk about the sun, that could be a few things. That's a few things. It's like a quadruple entendre. You actual Christ figure, or whatever avatar. Because he said the Christ, and then he said you know he said Christ in a plural manner as well. So give us something to think about. when we thinking, you know, I actually read in the book about the Messiah or the Christ. It's a title, and then it's not just one person in specific. You know, when we're talking about Jesus the Christ, you know, but let's look at how biology works, right? Well, let's look at science. Let's look at biology. Well, biology is science. What I'm talking about. Hey Chris, you ever see anybody like come back after death? Yeah, like as of yet in reality.
Not that I know of. No, not yet.
I mean, unless they like resuscitated like literally like 3 or 4 days or something like that. But like, give it a week or a month, like you know what I mean. I've never seen it. Like, you know what I mean, the body goes through putrefaction and things like that. But we also talk about the spirit, right? They say energy isn't created or destroyed, it's just transferred. Now, when I think about Christ stuff like that, I do think about reincarnation and things like that, or just the divine spirit, things like that in general. Before you even start contemplating um, reincarnation and stuff like that, and how spirit flows through people and things and stuff like that. Like you ever saw movies and stuff like that, and there's like prophecy or something. They thought they killed the person who was the prophecy or whatever like that, and they was like, no. It's like no. Remember Star Wars? You was like strike me down and I become stronger.
Yep.
Probably not. Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader was beefing, right? And they actually got to the point where they was like fighting and shit. And Darth Vader, he had one up on Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan like striking the ball, that'd be great. Killed him. We don't have enough talks about spirit. We really don't. In a function, how it works and stuff like that. How like in a lot of movies, like one of the movies that I watched that scared me and I also liked was Nightmare on Elm Street, where it was like a fourth or fifth one, where one of the characters from the last one, she died, and the force that was in her went somewhere else. So it's just something to speculate and think about when we talk about the Christ and the prophets and stuff like that, and how everything's going according to plan, despite how we feel about it, our subjective feelings, and our very finite understanding of the world and reality. Everything's going to plan. There are mistakes that we make on the human scale, but in the grand scheme of things, man, it's kind of like my professor was saying, it's like an ant farm, unless you like doing something pivotal, like making some type of technology or something like the printing press or something like that. Your issues in the grand scheme of things is not as big and major. It really don't really stop shit. Really, it might stop shit for you. If these plans that we see that we don't even have a day or time for, it's not that big of a deal.
And it helps people realize too when it comes towards reincarnation. When you talk about the spirit, there's people who have this idea that science and spirituality are on two separate ends of the spectrum, and then there's no way, shape, or form that they can be connected. And what I like to think of when people talk of in terms of magic, when I interpret magic is a little bit different from everybody else. When I think of magic, I just think of knowledge that is unknown to most people as of right here, right now. As in, to me, there is a visible, seeable connection between spirit and physical reality. Because when you talk about spirit, you're talking about an invisible force that you can't see. Well, what's the thing that people use to see? Don't you need light? And if you study and break down light, in the human eye can see 7 different spectrums of light. And the higher in frequency you go, the less visible and the faster things move. So when you talk about somebody's spirit, somebody's
There's
aura,
colors that we cannot see.
yep, there's colors out there, and especially when people take shrooms and things like that, and they say they see colors that you can't see anywhere else before. When it comes towards light, and when it comes towards spirit, you're really talking frequencies, you're talking vibrations. And for those who don't know, Pisces is the sign of spirituality, it's also the sign of frequencies and things of that nature. When you get to a high enough frequency, things start vibrating on a level that cannot be seen by the naked eye. So when you're talking about somebody's aura or somebody's spirit that's connected to their body, that's because your spirit or your aura vibrates on a higher level than your physical body. Everything in this universe is made out of light. And where does light come from? The sun. And what are we talking about? Aren't we talking about God, the Son of God, light in the sun, how everything comes from God? You see how it all wraps in back together again? These things are not separate, people. These things are not separate. We come to, and there's things too that we have to understand too. Humanity goes through phases. Just because it's the year 2024 doesn't mean that we are more advanced now than we've ever been. There are certainly
who counts?
there are certainly people still don't know how to, people are still not 100% sure of how the pyramids were made. People are not 100% still sure how certain structures came to be. We've lost some skills over time and we've gained others. So it's like throughout life and society, you got to understand what John was talking about earlier, energy transfer. Certain things during certain periods of time come into use, and certain things throughout certain periods of time get lost to time. And it's not like they're lost forever. That's what people assume. Things are not lost forever. They're just gone for now. They're being transferred and used and put somewhere else. Work is work. Energy is energy. Mass is mass. If somebody's talking about putting in the work, how are you going to put in the work? You're going to put in the work with your bare hands, or you're going to put in your work with the tool, or you're going to make a robot do the work for you. At the end of the day, work is getting done. It's just the means of how that work getting done changes over time. And that goes back to what I was talking about earlier. Things change, but you got to understand the relativity to God is all coming from the light. Everything that we process. Yep. Everything that we
for work.
Say it again.
There's a third option for work.
What?
Involuntary I fucked up. Involuntary servitude, my brother.
Yep. That you see, there's so many different ways, especially when you're talking about God and how God processes, that people need to come to understand when it comes towards God and astrology and it comes towards science and spirituality. It's all connected. It's all different ways of explaining the same phenomena, explaining the same gifts and things that connects us all. This is all one universe, one spiritual body. This is one all God body that we living through and that we're enacting through. That people need to understand.
But Chris, we're Christians though. Chakra's not real.
And Christians need to come to understand too. Christians need to come to understand this. Certain Christians are locked into a certain mindset that was taught to them by their religious teachers. Certain parts of the religion, depending on who's teaching it, will have you thinking differently than other parts. The more that you come to read and understand the Bible, the more that you come to read and understand the scripture, you come to see that the practices in some of these churches, depending on what type of Christian that you are, because you got Baptist, you got Catholic, you got Protestant, you got Jesuit, there's so many different branches that have their own particular thing that goes on by. But the more that you come to understand the scripture in itself, the more that you come to understand how it connects to the overall world that we're living in, and how you could equate when Jesus is talking about the Son of God how that also relates to the sun itself too. When you start
Mm-hmm.
connecting the pieces of things in your life instead of saying everything is separate, you come to have a better understanding of, oh, this is what he meant, or oh, this is how his light is affecting me, his spirituality, my spirit is being affected and grown at this moment. Oh, this is why astrology works, and oh, this is why this person is having a hard time right now. You come to connect all the pieces of life like a puzzle together to come to have better understanding and understand too. Remember, transformation. Scorpio season is coming up. Scorpio season is the sign, is the season of transformation, things of that nature. It's gonna begin off with Halloween. You know, everybody's gonna be going in their costumes, trick or treating, going to parties, things of that nature and intent too. And even when it comes towards that season, Halloween used to be a pagan holiday where they used to do they used to do festivals and things of this nature. And it was celebrated by different pagan um religions, things of that nature. It is now that we've consolidated it together to become Halloween now. So it has all these different traditions and rituals that get backed up into one. You got to understand, over time, certain let me say it this way. Religion isn't new. Spirituality isn't new. The way that we go about using it, we take different pieces, we put in together, we slap on a new religion. Couple years past, couple of hundreds of not thousands of years past, we take apart that religion, we take some pieces, we leave out others, we put on new ones, and then we slap again a new religion on top of it. It's
Hold up,
cycles.
you just said that you said colonists use religion as a weapon to change the minds of people through coercion?
Hey, hey,
I thought
call it,
I just thought it was what you just said.
hey, a spade is a spade. Call it how it is. But people can remember, even though it's been repackaged, even though it's been repackaged, people can still get good things out of it too because it's still the same. It's still the same information. It's still the same. It's been repackaged differently. You switched up. You know, this person came before that person. This person is now married to this person. It's like you're taking the same game and then you repack. It's like 2K. It's like you're buying 2K 2023 and then 2K 2024 came out. It's the same game. You just added a couple new characters into the roster and then you retired some other people. It's the religion is just like that. Spirituality or your spiritual system is
At
just
the
like that.
expense of your own money, at the expense of your own resources. You know you can keep that old game, right? And it's still gonna work.
But John, it's not the latest season. I need to get my new Clay Thompson figure.
I'm rolling my eyes so fucking hard on that. It's the same Clay Thomas, god damn it. Excuse my language, y'all.
But you know, that's just how people need to start viewing these things. When I view the Bible, I think about how do all of these pieces connect? How does this particular scripture and passage now connect to the nature of the world around me? And how does it connect to the science around me? When I think about magic, I'm just thinking, what is the natural phenomenon? What is the spiritual phenomenon that we have lost the time that this person is now rediscovering? What is this piece of reality that I have yet to grasp onto that this person has access to? That's what, because magic is Pisces, and what undoes magic? Science. And what science? Aquarius. Aquarius is the 12th house of Pisces. What's magic to magic? Science.
I would challenge that. I would challenge that. I also think magic is Scorpio, but it's a different type of magic.
Mm,
And what undoes that is Libra. You put that bitch on the scale. You weigh that shit out.
mm,
the thing about magic, from my understanding, that it's just skills that other people don't have. They say that the first magician was the iron worker, was a
mm,
person, the smith, the person who could take natural force, raw, natural force, something that is so entirely dangerous and deadly, and harness it and do something with it. You took natural force, fire. It took fire and iron and changed the world as we know it. Look around wherever you are. Look at everything that's metal. Look at everything that is iron. That's cast iron. Talking about casting spells and all other spooky stuff and stuff like that. Cast iron. How about that? You don't want to use magic, don't use doorknobs. How about that? You don't want to use, you know what I mean? You want to run from, yeah, I mean, the Amish probably, figure something out, but I went to the Amish market the other day. Young lady was using a credit card machine. I'm like, stop the bullshit. Like, we're going to make exceptions for one thing, not the other. Oh, we trying to get this money, we're going to make like, come on, son. So, like, we have the wrong idea and wrong concept of what we're looking at, what we think we know. We really do. And people want, like I'm getting on Christian's ass right now. Not you, Christian, but Crits, like Christians and stuff like that, where we just like what the colonizers did, right? They were very, picky and choosy on what they wanted to validate and not validate, and it's hypocritical, just like with some of those Amish people, very, very, very hypocritical. They made exceptions for some things, not the other things. It was not very, just like how in that verse said in Matthew 24, hypocrites. And I just simply say we got to do better. One thing when I left before I returned to studying this Bible and things like that, and was people would leave church. We go, we repent, say, forgive us for our trespasses and our iniquities and stuff like that. But then go out and still do the same shit. After we just, pray and repent and ask for forgiveness. I mean, from the hood, niggas went back outside and started thugging again. And being a detriment to their environment and their people. Being the agents and tools of destruction, of the devil. Like, that's why at that time I couldn't take it seriously being around people. I had to realize that, it's an individual journey and things like that. It's collective, but it's weird because it's simultaneous. It's both. It gets quantum. It's individual and collective at the same time. It goes to understanding the collective unconsciousness, and then again, understanding the Christ, which is a collective consciousness. So that's my spill.
And that's deep. When it comes toward people understanding too, the idea of having a collective consciousness, my take on it is something to understand. Your thoughts and your behaviors are not 100% of your own. Like, no one man is an island unto themselves. We're all a part of the human race. We're all part of a species. We're all going to have habits, traits similar enough, attributes to us similar enough just to classify ourselves together, especially the human race, because we are a race that loves to be in groups, be in packs. We are the dominant creature on this planet. If you want to talk about the Bible, we are the dominion. We have dominion over this planet. We are the most cherished creation of God. We are the most cherished creation that He's ever created. And with that, right, comes this idea that our connection to Him, our connection to the light, right, our connection to spirit is the highest because of, well, one thing we can say is our intelligence, our ability to speak, our ability to write, our ability to communicate, our ability to engineer, even at such a high level, our ability to have complete control over our environments and over the animals and other beasts that roam the land. And when we tap into that godly element of ourselves, whereas always the Bible always talks about the war in the human between the beast part of ourselves, which is the human body, our lusts, our lusts, our wants and needs, and versus the God part of ourselves, which is going to be our conscience, is going to be our morals, our ethics, our ability to pray or to be inspired even. And when it comes to the collective consciousness, think of it like the sunlight is touching every single last one of us. The sunlight touches every single last one of us. And we all get inspired from that same source to give us that same when when the sunlight, vitamin D, right, touches you, it's gonna boost your dopamine levels, it's gonna make you happier, makes you more person. There's research and proof behind it. Even so, why do you think in the Bible and throughout history, God has always associated himself with the light, associated himself with bright things, being bright, being on the higher side. If you ever see a somebody's gonna tell you a good quote, they're gonna see keep your head up, keep your head up. You know what I mean? That means if you're keeping your head up, that's because up is where you want to go. Up is where you want to be. When you're going through your spirit, you don't want to feel down in any particular way. I know I have my moments when I feel down. I'm human, right? But we always gonna have people have the inclination, and this is more spiritual too. People have the ability to feel one another. People have intuition to be like, oh, this person, let me cheer them up. I can tell just by looking at them, they're not doing too well or they're not feeling too hot. Our ability to connect with one another for the little things and the big things is our collective consciousness, is our ability to really come to understand and really do with one another. But that's just my little rant on that topic.
No, it ain't. That's the devil. I'm fucking around, man. People like to call things they don't understand the devil. Like people want to, like that's really some hating shit when you really think about it. Really some hating shit. Somebody doing something you can't do or you don't have an answer to or understand. You say it's the devil or it's evil. That's some sucker shit. That's just my personal opinion about that, though. You gotta let people be great and get out people's way. So I think that should probably be like considered like one of the biggest sins is being a player hater or being like Judas. What's it called? Not a cock blocker, but some to that effect. When you interware other people's destiny and stuff like that, and you conspire against natural getting greatness and stuff like that. So I think that's just how I felt when I was just thinking.
Yeah, and that's when I come to think about too, like you said earlier, nobody has the full, everybody has their subjective thoughts on things. Nobody has a
Right.
100% concrete answer to everything. So it's important
Nobody know the day or time or
that
hour.
nobody knows and it comes to that when it comes to astrology too. When people try to over romanticize astrology or just feel like astrology is bunk because people automatically think if you get one thing right with astrology, you can get everything right. Oh, I can
Hell
predict
no.
I can predict when I'm gonna make some money, or I'm gonna use this to rob a bank and become a millionaire. I'm gonna use this to fall in love with everybody. Loves to do this. The first thing they do when they figure out about astrology, oh, I'm gonna find the love of my life. Da 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 da. And people can either come to understand, even when it comes to astrology, that's just a view. That's just a view of how. Hold on. Yeah, that's just a view of how we get to see the world around us. That's just God giving us the ability to, hey, look, here's a sign for things that are coming your way. Here's a sign of, oh, what's potentially going to go down. How are you going to prepare for it? Because prophecies is something that the prophets of the time would do. Astrology wasn't something that, well, there was a point in time where most people were taught astrology in schools, but that was in ancient times. But astrology was mainly things that the prophets would use to tell of events, like when the flood was coming back in the day,
You
like when
talking about foresight?
foresight, forecast. Thinking about this, and especially when people are talking about the weather. I love to use this example. Everybody says astrology is bunk, but I say, why do you use a forecast? Why do you go outside and check on the weather each day? Why do you go to check to see if today is gonna rain or not? Don't you want an idea of what's coming up ahead in your life?
Well, that ain't magic. That's the weather.
And you see, it's thinking like that. Well, you and I'll say, well, how does the weather comprise? Let's break it down. Oh no, we don't need to do any of that. No, 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 it's just the weather. You don't need to make it all scientific, scientific, you know, poopsie dooksy. And that's like people only want to know as much as they want to know. You can't force, like the saying says, you can't look a gift horse in the mouth. I can't remember the exact saying that I'm trying to get at here, but it's of that lines of you can't don't throw your pearls to swine. If people don't want to know more than they want to know at the moment, you got to let them learn. And some people too just take longer to learn in general. Some people it is going to take them a couple days, weeks, years, or a couple of bad experiences to figure things out.
And what they say, he who do not hear must feel.
Mm.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it said in that verse, like that too. That's what talking about Noah. If you ain't gonna listen, I that's on you. All right. It reminded me of the Quran a little bit too. It's like, all right, hey, you ain't gonna listen. That's on you. I'm trying to give you the mercy. But apparently, you think you better than the mercy. All right.
Because people, I say another thing about people too, and this is what I'm saying. There's that balance, there's that duality between us, between our wants, our lusts and desires, and what is actually good for us in the higher aspect. And people need to come to sense too. You must constantly. It's not easy. It's never gonna be easy. It's one of the hardest things you're gonna do, but it's the most rewarding thing you're gonna do too. Is being a constant state of John said earlier, work and sacrifice. You need to find your way, find out how to always be putting yourself in a position to work for what you need. Even God said in the beginning, man, he said to Adam and Eve when they messed up in the garden, you're gonna have to work and till the land till you die. You're gonna live off the sweat of your brow. People out here trying to be lazy. People out here trying to be super lazy.
Stop talking about the scammers like that.
People out here really don't understand that if you're not going to face the hard times today, you're going to face them later. And it's going to hurt a lot worse later when you're more tired, you have less physical ability, and it's just going to be more painful. You got to be able to put yourself into positions that are going to set you up in the future. There is no
Uh,
getting out of this life without putting in some work or dealing with some difficulties. That's what people need to understand. There is
yeah.
no cruise until you die. It just doesn't work
My
like that.
father said that the other day. My father, he's getting up there in age. One of the things he said is there's no free ride up here. There's no free ride at all. You gotta do
Mhm.
something. Bust some suds, sweep something, do something. You gotta pay your way. You gotta pay how you weigh. You know what I mean? That's just what it is. You gotta pay how you weigh for real. And like it's I we that conversation should go somewhere else. I'm just you want to keep it here. But it's there's no free rides out here at all. Ain't no at all. That's why people be mad at people who freaking moochers and people who want more than what they deserve, and they just wild like that. Um, people want things easy. I mean, the mind is like made to try to make things less of a challenge and things like that, to shortcut things, stuff like that. But ain't no way of getting around hard work at all. I mean, you can't just want things and not, do anything for, like, you can't just be out here thinking you don't have to earn anything. That's wild within itself.
And
It was something else I want to say, but I'll think about it.
Hmm. And I was gonna say too, something that helps me understand it is I've heard online, I heard a quote from a guy saying most of your life is spent at work anyways. So
I
what
remember.
you
Say, go ahead.
so yeah, so it's gonna be like what you gonna do for most of your life? You gotta figure out something. Most of your life ain't spent sleeping.
I hope not. I mean, you'll wash your ass. Um, One of the things I heard the other day is there's people who start up and do things, there's people who catch up.
Mm,
And that hit home because like it reminded me of the work that I done to be where I'm at in my life right now. I had to start early. Everything I did, I go back and forth with things in my life all the time of how who I would have been, how I would have done things, stuff like that. But if I had not tried to start early, try to be professional, learn how to even act or sound professional, stuff like that. Even when people was kicking and laughing about how I was acting and moving, and right now I'm actually in a decent place in my life because I started early. And there's always a concept that I heard that when I heard it, it just made sense to me, right? Whereas people for starters who start early and stuff like they sacrifice early. They do their hard work early, and after a while it pays out. After a while, whether they got the opportunity, or they got like whatever, they found the opportunity or the opportunity found them. Um, it's people like that who work hard from their young, whether someone gets them to do it or they're determined to do it themselves. Success isn't an accident; it's very deliberate. Um, Opportunities come and go and things like that. But when people want things, stuff like that, it's a product of what they kind of work they put in and what their you know what they said, what is made, what is made for them to happen and stuff like that through their hard work, or what was done before them, or what God had for people. But the other part is the people who catch up, who just they have their fun, they have their time, and they get old and they realize how much time they wasted, and they trying to they just getting on track and doing the things they need to do and things like that. Where 15, 16, 17, 18, we not getting your high school diploma and stuff like that. You turn around, you get 30, 35, and the lifestyle that you had don't sustain you no more. It may have been fun, you may have been lit, you may have been running through whatever, getting this money, stuff like that, but at some point that stuff becomes either more high stake, or it becomes something that you realize is not the most ideal way to keep conducting yourself. So you end up starting late. Hopefully person had what was on their mind. you know they had something on the way there, but usually that's not the case. That's how a lot of people end up where they end up being where they at in life, working menial menial positions and stuff because they didn't get the type of things they needed to do to be able to have options, opportunities, and stuff like that. They signed their ass, and they played with they played whatever played whatever hand they had. So
and that's a powerful place. I think we're gonna leave off with we at about 58 minutes, close to an hour. And I know this was a powerful talk. Even for me, this helped me think more about my own personal life too, and how I can look to get a little bit better, deal with my own personal problems, and come to understand how God has, especially this past week. I don't know if I'm having a sun transit, a Neptune transit for spirituality, but this past week I've been running into things left and right, talking about God here, doing things for God there, having God bless you and take you in your life. And this call is one of these things that just help me move on forward and let me know that I can get done. It's going to take time, but again, that's all. It's going to be the work that you do off the sweat of your brow is going to get you to where you need to be.
mm, yeah, and I'm like I said, I'm working through things and stuff right now in my life, and again, that's why I didn't show my face today, because I am in transition and doing things, stuff like that. So I just want to share some of my gems, and I think some that'll be beneficial to everybody to sit down and reflect on the things like that. As I tell people, one thing I'm learning is to learn when you're stressed or have something going on. Take some deep breaths, write things down, work it out. Whether if you starting up or catching up, you know, I think that's one thing that applies regardless. Take some breaths, write things down, work it out. So that's the last thing I have to say.
Definitely. And hopefully we catch y'all next week with another new topic to get it done. It's been Chris Desir
There's John.
and we'll catch y'all next time. Peace.
Peace.
Mm.